Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to look at the human body not just as flesh and bone, but as a really complex, highly adaptable machine. And, like any machine, if you want to optimize its performance and longevity, you've absolutely got to understand the underlying mechanics. So today, we are all about decoding a very specific, stubborn problem, belly fat, and the cardiometabolic health risks it brings right along for the ride.
All right, let's just dive right into this staggering statistic. Data from the Framingham Heart Study's third-generation cohort revealed something pretty alarming. Over a 6-year period, individuals who consumed just one sugar-sweetened beverage a day, so we're talking a soda, fruit punch, lemonade, experienced a 27% greater increase in belly fat volume compared to those who didn't. And the real kicker here? This specific fat accumulation occurred regardless of their overall weight gain. Diet soda, interestingly enough, did not show this same association.
Now, why is that 27% increase so concerning? Well, it's all about the kind of fat we're dealing with. This isn't just about appearances or fitting into your genes. We are talking about visceral fat. This is that deep tissue fat that literally wraps around your stomach, your liver, and your intestines. Research clearly links this hidden visceral fat to really serious cardiometabolic risks, like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So, understanding this hidden enemy is our first crucial step to actually defeating it.
To solve this puzzle, here's our game plan. First, the cortisol connection. Second, fiber and protein leverage. Third, the power of NEAT. And finally, HIIT versus steady-state cardio.
Okay, section 1, the cortisol connection and exactly how stress hijacks your waistline. You could literally have the most perfect diet and the perfect workout routine, but if your cortisol is out of balance, your body is effectively working against you. Cortisol is produced by your adrenal glands to help you respond to stress, which is totally great in an emergency. But when that stress is chronic, say from poor sleep, work anxiety, or even restrictive yo-yo dieting, your cortisol levels stay elevated. And when this happens, your body fundamentally shifts its machinery. Step 1, it breaks down your muscle tissue to release amino acids for energy, which ends up lowering your metabolism. Step 2, it boosts your appetite specifically for high-calorie, sugary foods. And step 3, it actually impairs your insulin sensitivity. That means your body stores more of that energy directly around your organs as visceral fat. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between everyday stress symptoms that you can absolutely reverse and a serious medical condition. High cortisol from life stress causes anxiety, fatigue, and that classic abdominal weight gain. But again, this is highly reversible through lifestyle changes. Now, on the other hand, hypercortisolism, or Cushing's syndrome, is a medical condition often caused by a tumor or long-term steroid use. It's characterized by a puffy moon face, purple stretch marks, and easy bruising. Obviously, if you suspect that, you need a doctor's care. But for the vast majority of us, lifestyle is the key. Moving right along to section 2, fiber and protein leverage are dietary drivers. So when we're up against today's landscape of ultra-processed foods, sheer willpower almost always fails. It's not a lack of discipline, it's a literal hijacking of your biology. This brings us to the protein leverage hypothesis. Researchers found that humans, much like other animals, have a really strong biological drive to prioritize protein. Your body will compel you to keep eating until those protein needs are met, regardless of how many calories you've taken in. So modern, low-protein, savory decoy snacks like barbecue potato chips, they literally trick our biology into endless overeating. You just keep eating because your body is frantically searching for protein it's never going to get from that snack. But hey, it's not just about getting enough protein, it is also about fiber. Conversely, research shows that just a 10-gram daily increase in soluble fiber is linked to a 3.7% lower risk of gaining belly fat. I mean, that is a massive return on investment for a very small dietary tweak. How does it actually work? Well, specific plant-based foods contain soluble fiber, which mixes with water to form this viscous gel in your gut. Think of it like a sponge that slows down digestion, curbing appetite hormones like ghrelin. It also acts as a prebiotic, feeding the 100 trillion helpful bacteria inside your lower gut. Through a process called fermentation, those bacteria digest the fiber and produce short-chain fatty acids, which research shows actually help regulate your fat metabolism and reduce belly fat. Okay, on to section 3, the power of NEAT, which is essentially your hidden metabolism. This introduces a secret metabolic weapon that requires absolutely zero gym equipment. Look at this number. Variations in incidental daily movement can account for an astonishing difference of up to 2,000 burned calories a day between two individuals of the exact same body size.
One person might have a desk job and just relax on the couch, while the other might work in construction or actively chase toddlers around all day.
Which brings up a really fascinating distinction about how we categorize our daily steps. If you go out for a 30-minute walk, is that considered exercise or is it neat?
Well, to answer that, we really have to look at intention. EAT is your formal workout. It's planned, it's timed, and it usually has calorie burning or fitness as a very specific goal, like walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes. NEAT, on the other hand, is the biologically regulated energy you burn doing literally everything else. It's walking to a friend's house instead of driving. Importantly, NEAT isn't just behavioral. It's regulated by central neural and endocrine pathways. And the cool part is, it adapts.
The good news is you can absolutely intentionally boost your NEAT. Epidemiological studies show that simply increasing your standing and moving around by just 2.5 hours a day can easily burn an extra 350 calories. You can do this by using a standing desk, pacing during phone meetings, washing dishes by hand instead of using the dishwasher, doing yard work, and believe it or not, even laughing and fidgeting contribute to this hidden metabolic burn. Finally, let's get into section 4. HIIT versus steady-state cardio, the final showdown. So you've dialed in your stress, your protein, and your NEAT. Now, what do you do when you actually hit the gym? When we compare high-intensity interval training with moderate-intensity continuous training or steady-state cardio, the data is super interesting. HIIT is the undisputed champion of time efficiency. It requires up to 40% less time to get similar total body fat reductions as steady state. HIIT also provides a massive boost to insulin sensitivity, whereas steady state often leaves it unchanged. But here is the plot twist. A study out of China tracking young females found that steady state continuous training with a high training volume is actually superior for melting away that specific dangerous abdominal visceral fat we talked about earlier. Both, by the way, are highly effective for improving your overall cardiovascular fitness or your VO2 max. Gut, listen, here is the absolute most important rule, regardless of which modality you choose. The clinical data proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you must maintain the routine for at least 8 to 12 weeks to see significant cardiometabolic transformations. You can't just do HIIT for 2 weeks and expect your fasting blood glucose and visceral fat levels to magically plummet. Consistency is the primary variable for success here. So I want to leave you with this final thought to kind of challenge your daily habits. We always blame a lack of time for our health struggles, right? But if simply prioritizing a high-protein diet, managing your stress levels, and intentionally fidgeting, laughing, and walking more can fundamentally alter your cardiometabolic destiny, are you really too busy to start optimizing your engine today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. The manual for your metabolism is right in your hands. Now it's up to you to drive. Keep moving.